Al-Khwarizmi, the guy who brought and established algorithm. The algorithm and algebra, you did some algebra, all of us did algebra at school, but how many of you heard the name Al-Khwarizmi and Jabir ibn Hayyan? None. Nobody. Only when you grew up and you started to do self-education and self-development, then you, oh, okay, now I know that. But what happened is that during the Renaissance, that English and scholars in the West not only changed terms to sound like English. For example, arsenal. Arsenal. Oh, it sounds English. But in fact, it is dar as-sina'a in Arabic. Sugar. That's as-sukkar in Arabic. All the alcohol, the chemical product, was already there in it's Arabic. All the names of some major chemical product, the solar system, the way it is named till now, Earth is al-ard. Okay, nobody told me this. Well, now you know. So what happened is that when a language has reached the zenith of civilization and the top, and of course, as Ibn Khaldun says, in civilization, there's always an up and down, up and down. So we don't know what language or what nation or what culture is going to be next. Names not only of terms, but also people have changed. This is crazy. Ibn Rushd, one of the philosophers and medical scientists in our culture, his name became Averroes. Only some people, those people who are specialized in these areas, in philosophy and medical science, know that. Because he was translated, his name became Latin. Okay? Ibn Sina, another scientist and medical scientist and philosopher during the dark ages for Europe, was the light ages for the Islamic world at that point. It's very interesting. His name became Avicenne. Avicenne, it sounds Latin, etc., etc. All these terms, scientific, algebra, for example, is al-jabr. And it is Kitab al-Jabr wal-Muhasaba, which is a mother of mathematical science. Okay? But only those who are experts in the field will go and find it and say yes. I will actually pick one of those series when the world spoke Arabic. One of them will be on this topic, for example, just to share with people so that they have some knowledge about this. It's very interesting that we tend to forget and we take things for granted. For example, this wonderful digital age that we are enjoying with these binary systems where we store information, we play with information, we discover the beauty of it and all of that is based on the concept of zero. So who started that concept? Those of you who do math, of course, maybe Dr. Yannick knows that already. So what happens is that as a human civilization, we are interconnected. I talked about how the linguistic and bio systems are connected, and the environmental issues are connected with that. We also need to know that as humans we are interconnected, and we just tend to forget and take things for granted and think that's why I started from the very beginning by that definition of culture. Culture is a struggle over meaning and representation. That's the critical definition of culture. When people feel that their voices are not heard, that they are not represented. When I go to these schools and I observe teachers, and they are teaching algebra, for example, but they don't give credit to these philosophers and contributors from such a culture or a heritage, I feel sad. Because I don't see those kids who speak Arabic, that their culture and their language is appreciated is valued. And we build on them and say, you are an expert in my class, so you've got to help me learn about that and develop that self-esteem so that they become great citizens of this country and leaders. That's what we need. And we are not doing it. Unfortunately, only few are aware of this and they do it while they are teaching and educating others. Yes, ma'am.
You did a nice job of explaining how you're trying to preserve the oral language of Arabic for your children. What about written language?
Written language. Well, that's a very systematic, something that has to be done on they know it already. In my home, I can share with you what I do. They not only speak it, but they have to read, write, and dream with it. So we have a program in the house on Sundays and on Fridays, twice a week. There is an intensive Arabic program going on. I spend money. This is not something that comes free, to buy books and material. And whenever we go visiting our homeland, we bring material and resources. And now with the internet has provided so much material now with easy access, and we try to make sure that they are also literate in the language. In fact, here is a little technique that I use with my daughter. And I use that with my middle son also and my oldest son. When they come home, they bring these little books. You know, those reproducible little books that you can make copies, and they are a few pages long. Each day, every day, she brings one. And she has to read it to me, to her mom, to her brothers, and we sign, all of us, in English. So what I do is, I work with her and we translate that little book, and we make a little slip of paper flipping like this on each page, so that she has the Arabic, English, Arabic, English. So she knows, and this is time consuming, something that we have to really take seriously. So that's why I do it with WeAm, for example. I translate those, and we already got a pile. I told our scholar from Egypt, the Fulbright scholar, I told him I'll bring you some. You can make copies and then use it with your students, because they have simple Arabic structure and they can develop that literacy. You know, we don't have that. There is a need. In fact, publishers are looking for people to produce material like that for children in this country. Of course, in Arabic-speaking countries, there is a lot, of course, of resources, but not in here. It's very challenging. So, yes, sir.
I don't have a well-formed question, but it goes back to your comment that all languages are equal.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if there's any evidence that native speakers of certain languages have more developed cognitive powers in one area rather than in another. And the reason why I ask this question is because I've heard, and it's just hearsay to me, that Chinese and Japanese readers who read an entirely different kind of script, that cultivates some way of looking at the world or thinking about the world that maybe people with different kinds of script don't have.
Yes, it is true. It is true that there is something called in linguistics the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, in which language and thought is and should be looked at as something interconnected. Language influences thought, and thought influences language. If people are working, inventing things, studying, learning, they come up with new things. So they need names for things that they discover. Okay? So this is thought influences language. Now, language also influences thought. Let me give you an example. You gave the example of the Chinese and Japanese because they are using different scripts and different methods and systems of writing and reading. And when they do that, the way they process that information is different from somebody who is reading English. The same thing with Arabic, and I experience that all the time. Each language has its unique or uniqueness in a given domain. And it will be, for example, I feel that Arabic has excelled in poetic and also spiritual, deep, very complicated concepts. When I go to translate those into English, I don't find the words. So I feel, for example, I'll give you one example. There is the term democracy, which unfortunately, there are some scholars who are thinking about that. The word democracy, there is an equivalent of that in Arabic, but it's not the same. It's called shura. Now the shura system, which was established and flourished during those golden times when Umar ibn Khattab, one of the great rulers, who used to sleep under a tree and not care about who's going to come to kill him or not to kill him, because he ruled with justice. He applied the concept of shura, meaning consultation and democratic rules, basically. All right. So the concept was even there, but in order to explain it in English, we will not be able to do so. There is another concept. For example, the concept of haram. Haram. What is haram? I will not be able to translate that into something illegal. It will literally be illegal, but it's not illegal. Illegal in Arabic is غير قانوني. Another word that I found very tricky is religion. When you translate that into Arabic, it's deen. A deen is religion. But the word religion in English has some connotations and meanings that are totally different from the way deen or religion is understood and defined in Arabic. So yes, I agree totally with you that there are ways that language affects thought, but there is also that other way that thought affects language in many ways. So.